what's up with it? You watching the Baum TV, and yeah, we about to check out this video from the YouTube channel Rap Reset, and the title is 50 Cent opens up about ex-bodyguard trying to unalive him. He got receipts. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never heard about this situation right here, man. Hey, man, I wonder who paid that bodyguard to try to take 50 out, man. It ain't no telling. You know, 50 was rap's most hated at one point in time, you know what I mean? For real though, man. After that track How to Rob, you know, a lot of rappers was in their feelings about that, man. Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I definitely was a fan of G Unit when they was coming up. You know, they had some fire ass mixtapes. Seemed like they was killing the industry and the streets at the same time with the mixtapes, you know what I mean? I definitely still bump some of them G Unit mixtapes, man. Them shits was fire for real though. But yeah, I never heard about 50X bodyguard trying to take them out or something, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, whatever in this video new to me, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I haven't checked out the video. Don't completely know what they talking about, but let's check it out and see what they talking about.
Who has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 fucking times?
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
if
it.
If there's something that creates more merit for you. I think that experience is something that was unfortunate that I had to experience.
I forget, why the guy shot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it?
Yeah.
The day 50 Cent was shot, I was walking through, and BMF was there too. Meechnam was there too.
50 Cent just dropped a bombshell. His own ex-bodyguard was moving foul, and he's got receipts to prove it. But to really understand how deep this goes, we have to take it back to May 2000, the day Curtis 50 Cent Jackson almost lost his life. He was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's house in Queens, yet somehow he survived. For years, people speculated about who wanted him gone and why, but 50 always knew the truth. He just kept it quiet. Now, he's finally exposing the real story, and his ex-bodyguard wasn't just a bystander. He played a role in it. But the real question is, who wanted him gone, and why? Let's get into it. Imagine this. It's a regular day in South Jamaica, Queens. 50 Cent's posted up outside his grandma's crib. Next thing you know, shots start flying. 9 bullets, hand, arm, legs, chest, and even his face. Bro wasn't supposed to make it, but somehow he did. Even 50 himself later said, "It happened so fast that you don't even get a chance to shoot back. I was scared the whole time." No lie, anybody would be. He barely made it out, spent 13 days in the hospital, had to use a walker for 6 weeks, and by some miracle, he was fully recovered in 5 months. But survival was just step 1, step 2, figuring out who was really behind it. From the jump, the streets were buzzing about who had the green light on 50. One name kept popping up, Darryl Baum. If you know, you know, Baum was no regular dude. But this whole situation gets even wilder when Gene Deal, former bodyguard for Diddy, stepped in with some heavy claims that could change the way people look at the 2000 shooting. For years, speculation swirled about who really wanted 50 Cent gone. But Gene's version of events suggests there were powerful industry hands moving pieces behind the scenes, and the deeper you look, the more it starts to make sense.
Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, you was paid because someone, you know, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
At the time of the shoot,
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. That's probably why 50 be going off like he be doing, man, and probably still had them little issues with Irv and them and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, they say Irv and them was linked to the people that supposedly tried to take him out and shit, you know what I mean? Like he was saying, man, 50 was scared, man. So that probably was like one of the most terrified situations 50 ever faced, probably, you know what I'm saying? And going through shit like that, it do cause some little traumas and shit, you know what I'm saying? So that's probably why he was trolling when Irv passed, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, 50 is how he is for a reason, man, for real.
Gene was with the BMF crew in Mexico when he got the news that 50 had been hit 9 times. What made things even crazier was that 50's own manager approached Gene, trying to get in contact with Supreme, which immediately raised questions. If people were trying to check in with Supreme after the shooting, that meant some of them already suspected he was involved.
Cause 50 just got shot, you know, and he in ICU. I say, 50 what?
As Gene recalls, There were already tensions in the air, and Murder Inc. As name kept coming up.
Everywhere, huh?
He claimed that figures from the label were moving like they knew something was about to go down, adding another layer to the situation. The streets were buzzing heavy after Gene Deal's claims, and people started saying Irv Gotti and Ja Rule might have had something to do with it. Now this wasn't just random speculation. This was all happening around the same time 50 Cent was locked in one of the most notorious rap beefs of all time. But here's where things really start to connect.
I don't know who was behind it. I know that Irv Gotti and them had put it out there like they was a part of it and they was gonna do it that night, the day at the meeting.
Back in 2000, right before the shooting, 50 Cent dropped Ghetto Quran, a track that raised eyebrows in the streets. In the song, he name-dropped major drug lords, including Kenneth Supreme McGriff, the infamous leader of the Supreme Team. Now, if you know Supreme's reputation, you already understand this wasn't the type of guy you put in a song without consequences. The track was seen as exposing too much of the underworld, and in the streets, that can make you a target. Now, Irv Gotti's connections to Supreme were no secret. People knew Murder Inc. had close ties to some serious street figures. In fact, things got so deep that by 2003, federal agents raided the label's offices, launching an investigation into allegations of money laundering and connections to Supreme's drug operations.
The government stopped me from making the money. When the government came in, at that time, Murder Inc. was doing like over 100 million in billing for like 2 years in a row.
Now, while Irv and his brother ended up beating those charges, the case pulled back the curtain on just how intertwined the music industry and street business really were. And if Supreme really had an issue with 50, was Murder Inc. just standing by, or were they involved in something bigger?
You know, certain people say, you know, you get shot here, right? He got shot in his mouth. You're like, that's inches, right? This is just me talking, everybody. It's not a thing, but you know, who saved him?
Fast forward.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That is kind of goofy, though, man. Because Irv ain't even no street dude, man. They say Irv ain't even from no hood and shit. But he was infatuated with the streets, though. Ultimately, man, I think Irv was in some shit he probably shouldn't even been in. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Personally, man, I think Irv and him was getting extorted, man. But I ain't gonna lie, that link to the Supreme Team, though, probably somewhat still stamped them, though. You know what I mean?
To today, and 50 Cent is still keeping that same energy. When Irv Gotti recently passed away, 50 wasted no time clowning him on Instagram. No condolences, no respect, just straight jokes. That tells you this beef ain't over, even decades later.
50 Cent needs therapy. I don't care if you agree with the rationale.
Yeah.
And 50's 50, he gonna stand in it. He gonna stand strong in it.
He is. I look at it from both sides of the coin.
And if 50 feel like that, then go smoke a cigar in the cigar room.
Now 50 Cent himself didn't ignore Gene's claims. In fact, he reposted the interview on Instagram, seemingly co-signing everything Gene said. And that right there is telling, because 50 doesn't usually give credibility to just anybody. But when it comes to street business, he knows the difference between gossip and real intel. Now, here's where things take a turn. Darryl Baum wasn't just some random shooter. He was Mike Tyson's guy. The two had a long history, dating back to their younger days in Brooklyn. Later in life, that friendship evolved into something more official, with Baum stepping in as Tyson's personal bodyguard. Given his reputation in the streets, having him in Tyson's inner circle made sense. But this is where the theories start flying.
You know, it seems like you've always been attracted to the guys that are still in the streets to a certain degree. Do you think that's a fair statement?
You're not attracted to them?
Well, not attracted to them, but I mean, you like having them around.
Right?
You're friends with them. You
You don't like having them around?
People have always wondered.
Man, that boy Tyson was like, nigga, what? Attracted? What the fuck you mean? You know what I'm saying? For real, though, man. But I ain't gonna lie, though. To think about it, though, to be a bodyguard for Tyson, you know what you had to be, man, for real, though. Because, man, he ain't gonna need your help to fight nobody. So, you know what that bodyguard there for? You know what I'm saying? For real, though, man.
Tyson knew more than he let on. Now, there's no hard evidence linking him to anything, but the speculation never really died down. 50 Cent himself has never directly addressed Tyson's role in any of this, but he did acknowledge Baum's death. In his classic track Many Men, he made it crystal clear. Baum was gone just 3 weeks after the attempt on his life. Baum's Red Rum was just as violent as the world he was involved in. He was fatally shot in Brooklyn during a substance-related dispute, and many believe it was tied to his street affiliations. The timing of his death made everything even more suspicious, especially since his name was already floating around in connection with the 50 Cent shooting. For Mike Tyson, Baum's death hit hard. He wasn't just a bodyguard, he was a close friend. When Tyson stepped into the ring against Lou Savarese in June 2000, he dedicated that 38-second knockout victory to Baum's memory, proving how much the loss affected him. Despite everything, 50 Cent and Tyson have maintained a good relationship over the years. Even 7 months after Get Rich or Die Tryin' dropped, 50 Cent purchased Mike Tyson's massive Connecticut estate for $4.1 million. Tyson has even said in interviews that 50 is a good dude. He just doesn't like to be provoked. And let's be real, that's a fact.
Well, 50's a nice guy, but he acts like he's the murderer.
Yeah, he's really a real nice guy.
Yeah, I know, that's why he hides his heart and tries to, motherfucker, I'll kill you. But if you tell him he's a nice guy, he might shoot you. You know what I mean? Because he wants that image.
Now, surviving 9 shots was one thing, but what happened next? He had a bullet wound in his face, his voice changed, and he had every reason to step back. Plus, the industry turned its back on him. At the time, Columbia Records had him on their roster, but after the shooting, they weren't trying to deal with the heat. The label straight up dropped him, deciding he was too much of a liability. And let's be real, labels love to profit off street rappers, but when real danger comes knocking, they move funny. But it didn't stop there because New York's entire industry put him on ice. Word on the street is that major studios shut their doors on 50. And producers didn't want to touch him. Nobody wanted to be tied to the violence surrounding his name. So what did 50 do? He packed up and left the country. He hit Canada, where he could record freely without industry interference. Out there, he flooded the streets with mixtapes, dropping heat that kept his name alive. By the time he came back to the US, he was bigger than ever, and the industry had no choice but to take him seriously. And we all know what happened next. Get Rich or Die Trying dropped, and 50 took over the whole rap game. But here's the thing, it wasn't over. Surviving 9 bullets wasn't enough for his enemies. Somebody still wanted him gone. Just 8 months after Get Rich or Die Tryin' took over the charts, 50 Cent narrowly escaped another hit. In September 2003, while leaving a hotel in Jersey City, gunmen opened fire on him and his entourage. It was a setup, no question.
Yeah, man, that's a fool with it, man. Yeah, that way 50 say, man, I was scared, man. You know what I mean? So shit, that makes sense why he was riding and moving how he was moving. You feel me? And I think that should be like that in the streets too. You know what I'm saying? They like, oh, they got guns, they crazy, but half of the time, shit, them niggas be scared. Shit, for real though, man. Shit, scared of what the environment bring niggas. You know what I'm saying? So, just cause a motherfucker gun tote motherfucker don't mean they like a bad person, man. They just stand prepared for the environment, for real though, man. Shit, never know what might come, for real though. So yeah, man, that's deep, man. Shit, 50 move how he move for a reason. Shit, feel how you feel about certain people for a reason, you know what I mean? Ain't even fought a nigga for that, you know what I'm saying? Unless you been through the same thing. But yeah, man, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, man. Y'all heard about 50 ex-bodyguard trying to take him out? I never heard about that story, you know what I'm saying? Let me know what y'all think about that, man, for real. Baum TV. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Until next time, alright?